and the more efficient. And these are the things that you're going to have to do with your organization or with your business that you have or the business that you're expanding to or the business that you're about to get involved in. You need to have a green initiative. There is a lot of money coming down the pipeline for support for businesses that have a green initiative. So you definitely want to take notice and put these green initiatives. Any questions out there from anybody? Recycling, conservation, sustainability. All right, sustainability is another aspect. People say, what is sustainability? Sustainability is that it's a process where you make your operations more efficient inside its own operating circle by not having to add excess resources to it to get the same thing accomplished. And a lot of times what companies are doing are getting 2- and 3-fold uses out of things already inside of their sustainability, meaning that a company, for instance, we got companies out here doing washing cars. What are they doing now? They're recycling the water. Yeah, they're using basically what they call gray water to wash the cars. Instead of paying for that water, letting it run down in the sewer, what are they doing? That water they already paid for, they're pumping it, clearing it up, right back through the system, right back out. Anybody ever heard of a place called McDonald's? We love those fries, don't we? Guess what they're doing when they finish with that fry grease? They used to throw it out. Not anymore. Guess what they're doing now? They're converting it to biodiesel and putting it right back into their trucks that they use to ship their supplies out to their stores. They're keeping it in there because why? They've already paid for it before it gets there, and they're saying, hey, wait a minute, let's use it again. We're sustaining ourselves, being more efficient, keeping it in here, already in the loop that it's in, and we're consistently trying to use it until it's used up rather than using it once and throwing it out. So understanding sustainability is so you don't have to add more resources into your loop to sustain your business to do what it's been doing. Okay? Sustainability, conservation. I'm going to tell you some of the best ideas, guess where they are at? In people's head, walking around skiing. Trust me, they're out there. They really are. So now you've got that. We've gone that far and said, okay, we're ready to show them. Now you've got to consider the financial considerations of it. What can you do to finance this? One you can do is self-financing through your own 401ks, your own savings, your own credit cards and whatnot. Not necessarily the best way to go, but you can do that for your business, for your idea. But you also have to make sure you've got a business model for that, okay? Next, you can go after traditional loans to see if someone will give you a loan based on your business model, your concept. But you've got to have your business plan tight. And people don't skip on your business plan. Because if you don't have a business plan, you plan to fail. Because nobody's going to let you walk in there and they're going to ask you 3 or 4 questions and you can't answer, guess what? They'll see you later. You've got to do your research on your business plan for your finances. Then you may have what, like I said, a joint venture. Partnership with somebody who has more funds than you. Partner with them. Use their resources in there. Yeah, you're going to have to share profits, but the thing is, you still get your idea out there. You also have what you have called venture capitalists. Venture capitalists, normally these are high net worth people who have a lot of money and are trying to basically double it, make more money off of it. They will invest in your business. They also will probably help you with management to very strongly look at the people you have on your team. You cannot do most of these products alone if you're coming up with it, especially when you're looking at processes that are already out there. So venture capitalists, you would have to have for them a strong management team. And that's more so for all of them, a strong management team, meaning that you don't have to be the engineer. You don't have to be the artist. You have to find the people to work with you to do what you're going to do with your business plan. So venture capitalists is another way you can fund it. Factors and why you keep up with the numbers is so that you can have a snapshot on what's your potential earning power in that particular order, and also what's your potential spending power that you're going to need to do it. Because that may say, hey, you know what? We might need to move to a different area. It's all factor based on you as an individual, for you and your family. You have to look at what do the numbers mean, and that has to be considered for growth of your family. If you're looking at expanding your family, having children, if you're looking at having to take care of a loan and bring them into a home with you,
because we're having a lot of economic stresses in and around the country, and we may be revamping a lot of things and doing them differently than we used to do. So we definitely got to consider all of the numbers that we have and all of the particular things. I mean, look at all this economic development that may be happening in and around where we live or where we want to live. We have to look at all of the factors that play into us being able to survive and live and have a quality of life. And that is saying is, how much is your gas that you take? I mean, how's the gas? Gas is sometimes somewhat national, but it could vary locally too, from a stand of like inside of 285 here in Metro Atlanta. Well, most gas stations inside of 285, they are almost 12 to 15% higher than they are outside of 285. Now that's just a thing, and you think, well, over time, that's that 15-cent difference definitely becomes a factor with you in a long-term situation. I grew up there, graduated from high school there, and I moved to Atlanta after I got out of the U.S. Army. I wanted to get involved in the film and video business, and I mean the actual film and video business. And understand, they are two distinct businesses. They are not the same. They are not interchangeable. I know we hear people all the time say they're going to look at, let's go look at some film, especially when we talk about sports. You listen to ESPN, you hear those guys all the time say, oh, we're going to go back and look at the film. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're going to go back and look at video. Make it real clear. Because understand, there are two different formats. The first thing you want to learn about it. And understand how to get involved in the film and video business. It actually stems, believe it or not, is more closely related to classroom. Believe it or not, it starts in the classroom. And people say, well, how do you think it starts in the classroom? Anybody got an idea how it gets started in the classroom? Anybody? Think about it. Okay, let's say you want to do a movie. Someone who wants to do a movie? Anybody wants to do a movie? Who wants to do a movie? Okay, what are you going to share with everybody that's on your team right here to get us going? What are you going to share?
First of all, I'm going to share the idea about it.
The idea. He's absolutely right. And the stage he's talking about idea is what they call your development stage or your pre-production. That's the idea. That's where you sit down and bang out ideas about the script. What is it going to be about? Where are you going to shoot at? What kind of clothes we're going to look at? You got to go with strategy with your team of people. But see, all the fun happens when you start shooting. All the work happens before you start shooting. When he's talking about the idea, that's your script development stage. That's finding all the pieces, everything you're going to need, everybody you're going to need on the team, everything down from travel, equipment, to personnel that you're going to bring in. So, any questions so far? Hand tools and equipment, other machinery and equipment, and a tire. Let's get into a tire. When you're working in warehouse places, your tire should basically fit the job that you're doing. Don't think you're going to come into a warehouse situation with your high heels on or with your $90 or $200 tennis shoes on, thinking that that's a proper tire for a warehouse. It is not. Why? Because it's inappropriate. If you're in a warehouse setting, especially when you got forklifts going on, the number one thing that required is steel-toe boots. Sorry, they don't make any steel-toe stilettos that I know of. You don't make no steel-toe Jordans that I know of. So you definitely want to be sure that you wear the proper tire starting with your foot gear. Then you also want to be sure, like you have, it's better. In a lot of the warehouse places, they're open all the time. Yeah. You want to make sure if you're going to use the coveralls or the monkey suits, if you're wearing them, you don't want to be wearing your winter coveralls in the middle of June in Atlanta. You're going to burn up. And you probably, if you're going to wear your summer ones, you may want to have 2 pair on if you wear them in the wintertime. It's cold. So wear your proper attire based on what it is for the warehouse needs. Your steel-toe boots, your coveralls, and also your gloves. I would just suggest anytime if you go to do any positions, especially in the warehouse, at minimum they're going to require is your gloves. Why? It's going to save your hands. It's going to save you from having the headaches of splinters, metal, all types of things, pulling rope, picking up pallets, all the kind of stuff that happens that you find in the warehouse. So your gloves definitely should be a key attire. And for most warehouses now, a requirement quite standardly is also goggles.
You need goggles a lot of times. Goggles, they are for your protection. You want your eyes, for the most part, not because where you're working may have it. You may pass by a welder. Sparks flying. Oh my God, bing, guess what? Just save you from having a piece of metal that they're going to have surgery that gets in your eye, because it's going to melt something to get in there, and you're going to need surgery to get it out.
Is how to actually execute things. Anything in your life can be executed if you first understand the principles of getting started. And one of the things people don't understand about execution is that you have to ask the questions from a strategy. So it starts with a strategy that you have to have in mind. And that strategy has to be asked of what is it that you're trying to accomplish. Be specific about what it is you're trying to accomplish, because a lot of times we too often don't get to the specifics of it, and we want to know why it's not executed. Meaning that you have to ask those questions: the who, the what, the where, the when, the how much resources is it going to take to actually get it accomplished. And I'm sure if we turn around and ask DJ Hothead how did he accomplish this, he had to have some questions asked. How was he going to do it? What equipment did he need? What was he actually going to do? What kind of music was he going to have? Where was he going to get the music from? So we can start to understand that, guess what we have to have? We have to keep asking the questions, and we have to keep answering those questions, and we have to be specific about what it is that we want to do. And too often, we don't want to do that in our community. We don't want to ask those questions, but that's exactly what we need to do, is ask those questions so that we can better inform and actually get down to the nuts and bolts of what it is that it takes to do any particular project you want to do. If you're looking to start a nonprofit organization, if you're looking to start your own record label, if you're looking to become a film and video producer, if you're looking to become a DJ, what you have to do is start asking those questions and be real about what the answers are. Don't get upset when you ask people to help you and they ask you, what do you want to do? You got to be specific in your strategy. You got to be specific in your needs. You got to be specific in the resources that it's going to take to accomplish that. We have to start asking these questions. And guess what, team? It continues to be we have to continue to answer those questions. Why? Because anything that we put on a checklist, anything that we need, when he comes out to do his setup out here, he has to say, hey, I need a microphone, I need a mic stand, I need speakers, I need a computer, I need cable, I need power. It does not stop. We have to ask these questions. And the reason we have to ask the questions is what? It keeps us from having problems later. So you ask all the questions that you need to ask, and we start with the simple ones that we all know, which is what? Who, what, where, when, how much, and let's bring in that critical thing. What time? See, time is hurting us a lot of times, is that we don't want to plan to do things in a timely fashion, and we really should take the time to do it. Meaning that we have to be accountable to whatever the time constraints we have. We have to look at things such as setup. We have to look at things such as what time is the production going to have to do. We have to look at the agenda inside of that, and then we have to look at what? The breakdown of a particular project that we do. Too often we go out to things such as the Auburn Festival downtown, and we don't realize we got to get down there and what? We got a certain time we have to set our booth up, and then once it's over, we got a certain time to break it down. And we have to look for all the intangibles and let your team, which is the key thing that we have to do, is put a team together. A team that's going to sit down, that you can respect, and that will tell you the truth about your particular project, and they will ask those questions of you as that leader of that project. So you're a project manager, you're a producer, you are an organizer, you are in charge. Guess what? You're going to have to be accountable to that team, because that team is going to sit there and they're going to hit you with questions, and you need to be able to answer them. But even if you can't answer them, guess what you can do? You can have somebody on that team that can answer for you. That's why you team up with people. That's why you respect their skills. You respect their experience. You let them share it with you. You take it in without apprehension, and take it in without feeling like, oh my God, they're trotting on my personal thing. If you want it executed, you don't have a personal thing. If you want it to get done, you share it with your team and you be real with them. So that's just a few points that we want to share with you this afternoon about executing. And remember, the key thing is what? Ask those questions of that strategy. Who's going to do it? What are we trying to do? How are we going to do it? Why are we doing it? What's going to be the resources? What's going to be the cost, and what's the time frame we need to do it in? If you ask those questions initially and get them answered, I promise you, you'll be closer to executing whatever it is that you want to do. So I just want to share that with you.